What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Roofs Podcast. This is your host, John DeLaurier. Today, I have special guest, Claudio Vilas at the Roofing Biz Broker. Claudio, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, John, and thanks for pronouncing my last name very well. I appreciate that.
DeLaurier, it's hard to say. I understand. We were just chatting, and you were telling a lot of great stuff. I would love to hear that all again. What you do, what drives you. You talked about your why. Let's talk about all that. That's really important. People need to hear that.
Yeah. We were talking about this off camera, and I would really want to share this with your audience because it's very important. The first thing I want to start with is the why. Why do I do what I do? And by the way, what I do is help business owners sell their businesses, roofing business owners in particular now, but I used to do a lot of other types of businesses. So now I'm focusing on roofing, but it all comes from the same set of values that I have. I am a huge proponent of business ownership, and I respect any business owner, whether you're successful or you're not successful. I respect you because I know what you go through, right? I know the sleepless nights. I know that you pay everybody before you pay yourself. And I know that there's two things that can happen. You can either be successful or you can be a failure, unfortunately. If you're successful, people will envy you and they will say, hey, why are you not paying your employees more? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? And if you fail, they're going to tell you, I told you so. You will never make it like that. So you really can't win. But the business owner, the small business owner in particular, is the one that actually drives the economy, whether it's in the US, where we're here, or any parts of the world. You know, it's the guys that work every day very hard. So that's my why. And that's why I want to share this with you and with your audience.
I love it. It's a really important thing to understand. We at ProLine looked at a lot of different people. Well, people looked at us a lot for years and years and years. And that why is really important for any business owner to understand who you're actually partnering with to help you grow or sell your business. It's really, really important. People don't need to overlook that the numbers are not everything. You need to really understand who you're working with. So let's talk about that and kind of transition into, I'm really interested to hear your perspective on private equity. Everybody talks about private equity. Well, I don't want to sell my business. I'm too young. Why you should build your business to be able to sell. And then what kind of makes you, what are the things that you're looking for when you're looking for businesses to buy and sell and those kind of things. And then kind of what makes you different than traditional, like big private equity firms.
Okay, perfect. So let's start by talking a little bit about private equity, and I'm going to come back to this later, but just to set the tone, you know, private equity is not the only game in town. Everybody talks about private equity, but they're not. So there's so many other ways you can actually exit your business and sell it. And there's different buyers as well. So, you know, that's number one. I know that there's a lot of talk about private equity in the industry. But again, you know, don't be blinded by that because you eventually are going to sell your business or you're going to exit it somehow, right? Either you sell it or you leave it to your employees, your family, and what have you. And you really have to focus on that exit from day one, because if you want to do that exit on your own terms, you are the one who needs to drive that process. And in order to do that, you need to know how to drive that process today, not when you want to sell. Think about this. If you sell the business, whether it's private equity or anybody else, they're going to look at your finances 3 years back. So today in 2025, they're going to go to 24, 23, 22. And then they're going to ask you to stay at least a year or sometimes 2 years. So if you think about it, the time span is about 5 years. You can't call me tomorrow and say, hey, I want to sell my business and be ready for it. You're not going to be ready for it. And we're going to have to work until you are ready. So you have to plan your exit way in advance. And I typically say the day you open the shop, that's when you plan the exit and you work towards that. Whether you're going to sell it or not, it doesn't matter. You have to plan for it anyway.
Yep. It's, I think people need to understand that more. They don't really realize, they think, okay, well, you know, this will be like selling a house. I was going on your Facebook page and like, there's a lot of good blog posts this is like selling a house, right? Or maybe it's a little more complicated. It's a commercial property kind of. No, it's not like that. There's so much more involved, and there is a lot more time involved. I was very fortunate to have a private buyer who was also a ProLine user who we had the same systems, the same processes. He's looking to expand and grow his business, and then he bought my business. So because he saw the assets and the value, and it was a very easy transaction, much easier than most transactions. But that is out there too. So people need to know that exactly what you said is true. You don't have to just work with a private equity huge group that's just looking at the numbers, having those expectations, and having that specifically that time frame is really long, a really long commitment. So
And the other thing, John, is many times people sell their business without actually thinking that they were going to sell it. So there's so many reasons. Maybe you're moving to another state and you have to sell the business. Maybe you fall ill for some reason. You can't manage the business. There's so many reasons why you would sell the business without actually planning for it. So you have to be ready for it anyway. And the other thing that we were discussing right before we started recording, and I think it's really, really important, is that I am not private equity. I'm not representing any private equities. I'm representing the seller. There's a lot of brokers that are buy-side brokers, and they call people saying, okay, I want to buy your business, and I'm not going to charge you anything for it. They won't charge you anything for it because they're not working for you. They're working for private equity. And when that happens, I'm not saying it's bad or good, but when that happens, you have a broker that's working for the people who are going to buy you. So basically, it's like going to a divorce and using your wife's attorneys, right?
Yep.
And you don't want to do that. You want to have somebody on your side.
That's a really great point. I love. Can you expand on that? Because once again, there's enough to just unpack with that. To really that's a huge thing that I didn't know about you and didn't even understand, because this is all a lot of education for me too, because I did not go that route. So let's talk about that, like buy side broker. That seems like what I hear is the majority of transactions or people that are actually reaching out to roofing businesses. They have a really wide net for marketing, and they do research. They have people who just research businesses and then reach out and do that kind of transaction. So let's talk about why you represent the seller. What's the advantage of that? If somebody was watching this, what does that mean to them?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. That's a great point. Number one, private equities, the bigger firms or medium-sized firms, they have people who will do outreach, and they call you and they say, hey, I want to buy your business. Everybody gets those emails. Everybody gets those calls. That doesn't mean anything really, because they can't know much about your business to actually make you an offer. So they tell you that, and then they start digging into it, and it might be or it might not be a good fit. So that's number one. The other group that calls business owners are the buy-side brokers. They work for the buyers, and they look for potential sellers. So what that does is the same thing. You only have the 2 or 3 people that these guys are working with. And by the way, I work with them. I got about 20 or 30 buy-side brokers that I know. So I'm not saying anything bad about them, but what I am saying is that they're not working for the owner. They're working for the buyers. So you have a limited scope of buyers if you're going to go with them, right? 2 or 3, and that's pretty much it. When you work with somebody like me, and there's other brokers that are on the sell side, so you have sell side and buy side. The sell side brokers are going to get you between 5 is the minimum, 20 some offers is the maximum. So you're not working in a small group that wants to acquire you. You are on the driver's seats of selling your business. It's a completely different way of looking at it. You're not passive. You're actually driving the whole process. Then you're going to have other companies that might be interested in buying you too, which is that would be called typically a strategic buyer rather than a financial buyer. And then you have other people who are looking to buy businesses. So there's a whole bunch of different buyers and intermediaries out there.
That is very intriguing to me. The fact that you're in the driver's seat, that you're being proactive, makes so much more sense. I think you're really educating a lot of people right now that this even exists, because we just don't. We want to go and sell roofs. We want to build roofs. We want to sell roofs. Like we want to, and then we want to like level up and become business owners. But then this is a whole different type of thought process and an education too. So this is very, very intriguing. So when you are representing, you're on the the seller side. What are some of they're not really KPIs, but what are the indicators for you? Like what's a healthy business? Where's the range? Are you looking at EBITDA? Are you looking at what are the factors that you're looking at that says, hey, this is a good potential client, or this client has a strong, approach to the way they're doing business? What are the things that you look for when you're working with an owner?
Right.
Here's how roofers make it home for dinner every single night without losing a single sale, even when they're one-man shows. Automate your communication with ProLine, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs. Your weekends will smell more like sunscreen and backyard barbecues than that crappy gas station coffee. And all you got to do is ask these roofers.
Where we had about 200% growth, and I attribute that to incorporating ProLine.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
It's been absolutely insane how quickly we were able to grow.
Now, ProLine's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, well, the first, and I'm not saying it's the number one or the most important issue. I will say that it's the issue that bubbles up the most, and the one that most business owners don't really focus on, but that the buyers are going to focus on. So the number one issue that I find in 99.9% of the cases is that the business owners don't keep their financials and their accounting straight. And any broker will tell you this, and it drives me crazy because for two reasons. First of all, because you're not ready to sell if you don't have your business, your accounting correctly. But second, and I would say even more important, is that if you don't have your accounting correctly, you're not doing the right analytics of your business.
Correct.
Because a business is a group of people that make money, right? You hire people and you want to make money. If you don't have the right way to know how to make money, then you're not really running your business as you should, okay? So that's the number one thing. And I will tell you, John, I've dealt with large companies, small companies, medium-sized companies, and exactly 0% of them do it exactly how it should be done. Okay, so I can't stress this enough. The number two is how can you exit as the owner of the business without affecting the business? How irrelevant are you in the business? The more irrelevant you are, the more valuable the business is. That's another, like any business owners, we're typically type A personalities, and we want to be the end all, do all. And unfortunately, that doesn't work when you want to sell the business, because you're not selling yourself, you're selling the business. It has to be a completely different entity than you are. Tied to that is the type of leadership that you have. You want to have strong leaders that can step up, and when you leave, the buyer can rely on them to drive the business forward. Okay, and if you have good leaders, of course, you have good plans. You want to have good SOPs, and many businesses have this. The SOPs in general, I've seen. When you're successful, it's because you're doing something right, of course. So SOPs are part of doing something right. You want to have a great CRM and hopefully ProLine, but you do want to make sure that you keep your KPIs, and the only way to keep your KPIs is to having a good CRM and a good accounting system. So all those things are important. And if you're thinking of selling your business, you really have to think from the buyer's point of view. Okay, if you're going to buy, let's suppose you want to buy a business, and we should talk about acquisitions as a business owner as well. So growth through acquisitions. That's a really interesting subject that I want to get into in the future. So if you were going to buy a business, what are you looking to maximize and what are you looking to minimize? You want to maximize opportunities. You might maximize sales, maximize growth, and minimize risk. Okay, so if you're a buyer and you're looking for that, then that's how you have to manage your business. Increasing opportunities, lowering risk. How do you lower risk? By having people that know what they're doing in the business, by having control of the business. And that's typical, but there's one more item that you have to look into, which is plans. What are your plans for 2025, 26, 27? What are your long-term plans? Most business owners pay little to no attention to that. And if you actually present a business for sale and you can show a strategic plan, a marketing plan, a business plan to a buyer, I can guarantee you the buyer is going to be very excited to buy your business.
That makes sense. Going back to the problems that you see, and these are all exactly what I thought you'd say, because we did a bunch of I've done a bunch of coaching too and masterminds, and those are the two biggest issues: is not having systems and processes and not running accounting correctly. So, in your opinion, what the first one, the accounting side of things, how do you run your books and who do you reach out to? Because everyone's always asking, like, who do I do it? How do I do construction accounting? Like, there are recommendations that we give all the time. Do you have a list? Like, maybe what's the next step for somebody listening, watching this? They reach out to you to like, hey, I want to do this and I'm going to start now. Like that, you have partners or people that you refer. Yeah, that's awesome. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what programs or systems or do you help with this to help a business owner understand what SOPs need to be created or improved so that they can become more attractive? Because that's, again, people talk about this a lot.
Yes.
They don't have a solution. They see the problem. They know there's a problem, but they don't know how to fix it. So is that something else they reach out to you with, or do you see something else that they can investigate?
Love the question, John, because it goes to the conversation we had right before we started the podcast, and I actually wrote it down here because I don't want to forget to mention it. You said that in the industry, there's a lot of talk and not too much education. And I think this takes, that concept. First of all, there's way too much talk and way too little education. So, number one. Number two, I believe in focusing. So I used to be a broker in general, and I focused on roofing. But not only I focused on roofing, I focused on only selling roofing companies, okay? So even though I could actually help people and coach people, I don't want to do that. I want to focus on selling because I want to be a master at selling it. And what I did create is a group of referral partners that I can refer you to. So I can refer my clients to people that do forensic accounting, for example, or I can refer them to people who do marketing, which are people that I know and that I know that they're good because I've been focusing in the roofing industry so much and I've learned and I met so many people. But, I think the idea is for anybody that's listening to this to open their eyes that they actually need this. You don't need a guru. You need a person that's going to help you. You need an accountant that knows how to do accounting for roofing companies or a bookkeeper that knows how to do that. Because it's not the same to do the accounting of a roofing company that a hair salon. So you want to make sure you focus on people. If you find people who are focusing in the industry, you're going to do great. So my advice is, of course, I can't name all of them right now, but I can, if anybody calls me or texts me or whatever, I'll make sure I introduce you, not to one, but several, because you always want to have more than one option, okay? What I typically say is, I know that all these are really good professionals, but, because of personal characteristics, you get along better with one or the other. So that's it. But don't delay. I mean, if you hear that a million times, there's a reason for that. It's because it's important.
Yep.
Right.
And the timeline is long. Like, it is longer than you think. You can't just go in 3 months, sell your business. Is not going to happen, or you're not going to actually get the price that you want to get or should get by putting all the time, effort, and energy and the preparation to do all these things.
Absolutely. And we should talk about the timeline, because many people call me and say, hey, I want to sell my business tomorrow, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Some of them
Unless you're ready for it, but nobody is.
They'll buy it for pennies in the dollar. Yeah, they'll buy it tomorrow. And you're like, what am I doing? I can't even pay my costs. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. Let's move on to what you were talking about before, to the acquisition side of things. And that is very interesting to me, because we did a podcast with a sales rep that's in kind of North Atlanta, and they're buying up all the competition. It's a very interesting strategy that I haven't seen be successful, and they are just owning all market share in their market. And I think that's super interesting. What have you seen with that in the recent days?
Well, that's a great strategy, by the way, to buy your competition. It's a really good way to earn market share, and then to create synergies. Okay, so that's called GTA, growth through acquisition. It's a whole, right before this call, when you called me to have this call, I was actually at a course I'm taking at Wharton, and we're doing a course on growth through acquisition and advanced M&A strategies. So I want to start working on that in the future with my clients, because that's exactly how private equity works. So what they do is they take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies, they merge them, they find the synergies, they eliminate costs, and they increase EBITDA, and then they can resell it. And I think many business owners, roofing owners, could do that strategy and increase their volume far more than you do it through just regular marketing and organic growth. If you take the strategies that private equity uses to make money, you can make a lot of money too.
Makes sense. Very interesting stuff. It's so hard. I was a terrible student in school. I probably should not have gone to college. Like, there's all kinds of things that, societal pressures, family pressures, all that stuff. But we talk about education a lot, and there's things that you can go to the conferences, go to the workshops, listen to the podcasts, all these things, and you can educate yourself. But what you said before was like focusing and actually executing what you're learning. First of all, you have to learn. You have to actually be actively, consistently learning. But then you have to do the thing. You have to do the thing, and you have to do it consistently, whatever that thing is. And in general, because I say I'm a bad student because I didn't connect those dots in school, in traditional school, but I did in business. I said, okay, this point A to point B is actually point A, B, C, D, E. To get to Z, I have to do all these things very consistently. And so, like, this has been very educational for me. Listen, watch this. That's great. Oh, that was a great podcast. That was so intriguing. Well, you need to take action. Like, you really need to understand you should be building your business to sell. If you never sell it,
exactly, you
will have a more, not just profitable business, but you will have a way less stressful business, because you'll have great, like you said, great leaders in your business. They will be more fulfilled. Your entire executive team, all the levels of teams, all the way down to your crews, will be more. They'll be happier working with you because you have set all these things in place. If you have more profit, you can do a lot more things with that, and a lot of better things with that money. Like, you can, there's all kinds of reasons, and you just happen to do two things at the same time. You're building your business with all these SOPs in place. Your accounting's correctly done, but you're still able to sell, even if you never sell. Like, these are things we can talk about that all day long, but like, you've got to reach out to Claudio. You have to do it. Like, this is very, very interesting for me, because it feels like you say the word private equity and like, who do I call? Like, who do I reach out to? Like, what do I do? I know this guy who does this is a broker. And again, very, very intriguing that there's the buy side and the sell side, and the motivation behind each one of those things is very different. Very, very different. So anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Oh, yeah, I got a million things to talk about before we go.
Do it.
I don't know how much time we have, but there's a couple of things. You said it before, and I want to go back to this because the talk versus education. Listening to this podcast, your audience will have a few ideas, but they don't know. It's just like if I would say, I watch a video on YouTube on how to do heart surgery, and now I know how to do heart surgery. You don't. You have to open your eyes, open your ears, and really be willing to dig deeper. Unfortunately, in our world, I'm going to sound like an old guy, which I am. Everything is shallow. Everything is about content. It's 50 seconds at the most, sound bites, and you think you go to ChatGPT, ask a couple of questions, and you think you know. And that's very dangerous because you don't know. You have to work with people who know what they're doing. I would never get on a roof and try to work there because I have no idea. I've seen millions of videos. I've been with millions of or many owners. That doesn't mean I know anything. I let the owner know and let you run your business. Now, when you want to sell your business, you need to work with somebody that knows. And I'm not just saying about me. You need to work with a team. You need to work with the right accountants, with the right attorneys. You need to rely on people who know what they're doing. Number one. Number two is I am so focused on the educational part that I will put a boot camp together in September 26th here in Fort Myers. That's going to be the first boot camp, 100% dedicated to training people on how to sell your business. And this is not about the people, and I'm going to say this, you'll see me in Facebook a lot. This is not about the people that are on stage. This is about the people that go to the events, okay? It's not about having somebody giving you rah-rah and great motivation. It's about giving you the tools that you need to make a decision on how to sell your business or how to prepare it for selling.
I love that. I love that you're doing that because I have paid thousands of dollars to go to a lot of different workshops to help my business grow. And every single time, if it's a workshop type event, I get huge value out of it. And this is just another thing, like going to the conferences. I was just on a call talking about the conferences. Like, we're going to go to Windstorm. We're going to go to all these big conferences. They can be helpful if you are intentional. Workshops, though, they kind of force your hand. Like, you're going to do the thing. You're going to do whatever you're learning. And there are still things on my desk right now. They're like, this is worth $2,500. I just paid for it. I did 3 days here at this workshop, and I learned these things, and they changed my business. And I think that is awesome because people, again, like I said, they don't know who to call, who to reach out to because they see these big, huge companies. It's great that they're watching this and seeing this, but it's even better that you're going to say, hey, take it. How many days is the workshop? Is it going to be?
No, it's just going to be one very, very deep dive, intense with, always audience participation and having exercises and, even role plays. So you understand how the whole process works.
I love that. Our attention span is very short. So one day workshop is very good. So, yeah, I mean, that's amazing. That really is an amazing opportunity for people. They need to be focusing on that. Again, whether you're thinking about selling or not, you need to prepare yourself to become a business owner that is positioning yourself that way. At least be positioned that way, because I think there are a lot of people doing well. ProLine's growing. We're having a lot more people come on board. That's great. But there are also a lot of people struggling. And it's because they're not doing those things. They're not understanding, like, hey, the whole saying revenue versus revenue, profanity, profit, all those things.
Yes,
you need to understand. You need to be profitable, and to grow your business that way. If you need to back up and reduce your revenue because you have a lot of broken systems, you need to build it the correct way. And then you need to go to workshops like this to understand this is how you business.
Exactly. And the people who go to the workshops are the people who actually create value in their organization, which means are the people who are going to sell for more money in the future.
Yep.
Because it's an investment in the future. And again, if you don't sell it and you leave it to your kids, you're going to leave them more. If you don't sell it and you leave it to your employees, you're going to leave them more. So you've got to focus on that and, dig deep into it.
I love that. I love it. Well, this has been really informative, really helpful, like super educational for me. I've had fun understanding this a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Claudio, one more time, how do they get in touch with you? How do people reach out to you? What's the best way?
Okay. Email is claudio.vilas@theroofing-biz-broker with a Z.com. My website is theroofingbizbroker.com, and there's going to be a lot of changes on the website, by the way. So, go in. I'm going to start putting some educational stuff there as well. And phone number, 954-774-4141. I'm open 24/7. You can call anytime and text me or whatever you want to reach me at. And then I'm going to all the big conferences except for Win the Storm. I can't make it because my wife set up a vacation for us in Scotland. So I'm going to Scotland and I can't go to Win the Storm, but I wish I would.
We'll miss you there. ProLine the whole ProLine team will be Win the Storm, but we'll see you at the other events.
Exactly.
Scotland will be awesome, though. Scotland will be great. That's what it's all about. Claudio, thanks again for coming on Big Roofs, and thanks everyone for watching Big Roofs. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye.